Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I have a lot of questions that people ask me about planting tomatoes, and this is the time that you want to make sure that you're going to be making those decisions and the right decisions. I'm going to do a little experiment this year, and we're taking the same variety. I have these Golden Jubilee tomato plants. They're about the same size and height, and we're going to take one and I'm going to plant it in a 5-gallon container, and then we're going to plant the same variety plant in the ground, and we're going to check and see what kind of production we have from these tomatoes, and if there is really a difference if you plant in a container or if you plant in the ground. You're in the garden with Patrick. You know, gardening is great, and you can garden in a small space or a large area. So a lot of times you can basically plant a plant anywhere as long as you take care of it. The size of the pot really matters with the type of vegetable that you're going to be putting, or maybe herbs, but you want to make sure that you have enough room for the root structure to grow. So you don't want to put a large tomato plant or a zucchini plant in a small container, because they want to have those large root structures and also kind of grow. You want to have the nutrition for the plant. So you're going to plant a minimum, I would say most plants do really well in a 5-gallon container. So the difference though is a lot of people will think that if you plant in a 5-gallon container that the production will not be as large as it will be as if you put it in the ground. So the experiment that we're going to be doing this spring right now, but for this summer, is I'm taking these two identical Jubilee tomato plants. They're Golden Jubilee plants. Again, they look pretty similar to each other. They both actually have some flowers on them already. And we're going to plant them at the depth of the stem. There's, again, various methods of what you can do. You can bury them, you can put them lie sideways, you can also just plant them at the soil height, and that's what we're going to do today. There's going to be another experiment that I'm going to be doing, so if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like button, so that way you get some updates on the progress of what we're going to be doing. Be doing a lot of exciting experiments this summer and see what happens. So I love to do that kind of thing. I want to find the best thing that grows in your area. I'm in zone 8B, but as you know, zone 8B can be very wide and large as far as the different types of microclimates. So for example, I'm in El Paso, Texas, and we get, I think last year we got about 6 inches of rain. So we have to obviously supplement. A lot of the areas will get 100 degrees, 110, 115 degree weather, but it's not long lasting. So even though we say we're in zone 8B, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. If you're not sure what zone you're in, I'll put a link below, but you can just Google what zone am I in, and it'll tell you what zone you're in. That'll give you some ideas of when you can plant certain things. So certain things grow in the area different times. And if you have any questions or any comments, put those in the links below or in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. A lot of times people are wondering about bolting of their vegetable plants, especially, like, for example, I have some cabbage. I have some Brussels sprouts back here. It's already bolting. My broccoli and cauliflower, I've already pulled those up. Spinach bolts pretty quickly. As soon as that heat comes, it's going to bolt really quickly. So let's go back real quick, back to our little experiment. So I'm going to plant both of these tomato plants in today, and we're going to do exactly the same thing as far as fertilization and watering and all that as best as we can. This is not a scientific experiment exactly, but again, just gives you a better idea on how you can grow the same things that you would grow in a garden back here as you would in a pot. So if you don't have the space, it's a great opportunity to have pots different around your yard, and that saves space, of course, and then you're able to do it even in an apartment complex, on your patio, or those kinds of things. Okay, so we're going to take our two Golden Jubilee tomato plants. We're going to plant them two different ways. The first one I'm going to plant in this container, and we're going to put a cage on it, and but I want to also kind of give you an idea what I do in my garden to make things kind of thrive. I'm going to do the exact same thing in a pot as I will in the soil. So what I'm going to do first is I'm gonna loosen up this potting soil. I have this potting soil just so you also can kind of keep track of what we're doing on the channel. I have made this soil myself. I've done some rejuvenation of soil where I actually take old potting soil and we kind of rejuvenate it with different things. So I'll put a link below on that, but also you can make your own potting soil, and that's what I did here. So this is my own potting soil mix. If you have a lot of pots that you're going to be doing, it's really simple and very economical. Instead of buying 5 bags of potting soil, you can make your own. It's really simple. So what I'll usually do, regardless, the planting method is going to be the exact same in the pot as it is going to be in the ground here. And what we're going to do is I'm kind of digging really deep into the hole here, and then I put 2 things, sometimes 3 things in my planting hole. The first thing I always do is I'll always put earth castings in here, and just get just a handful of those, maybe 2 handfuls of the earthworm castings. This is a great organic fertilizer, and then I kind of mix a little bit of that in with some of the soil. And then I'll usually take whatever I can find on clearance, usually in the winter or something like that. I'll get a large bag of all-purpose granular fertilizer, and I'll usually just, again, about a handful. You don't have to measure, just about a handful of that, and just kind of put that inside the planting hole. And then again, you're going to just kind of mix that up, and that will allow that plant, as the roots go deeper into your pot, they'll search for the water, of course, because you're going to water from the bottom up usually, but also they're going to search for that nutrition that's going to be a little bit deeper, and that allows those root structures to go really deep, and then that allows the healing, and that allows for the plant to have a good stream of nutrition throughout the year. I'm going to supplement, usually I supplement 7 to 10 days with a liquid fertilizer, but typically I'll usually put some of this granular fertilizer. That granular will break down over 2 to 3 months time. Okay, so now, as I mentioned, so I'm not sure how we're going to keep track of these two girls here. So what we're going to do is we're going to call one of these, we're going to call this one Julie. So Julie, the Golden Jubilee tomato, is going to go in the pot. Okay, so Julie's going to go, now if you look at the root structure here, so you can see how it's kind of wrapped around a little bit in this pot. This is really ready to go a little bit long ago. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roughen this up just a little bit. You're not going to hurt the plant. You're just actually helping the plant, because those roots are going to want to keep going round and round. So I'm just kind of loosening those up just a little bit so that they'll be able to grow whichever way they want, and what we want is down. Now remember what we talked about. I'm going to put these, I'm not planting these deep. I'm going to plant these at the soil level that I had these before. So we're just going to bring that soil up to here. Now I also do recommend that you mulch everything. So once I'm finished with everything, we're going to mulch my garden here, and I'm also going to mulch this pot, because then that helps keep the even moisture of your tomatoes. One of the things that we talk about with moisture levels and tomato production and the different things that have happened with tomatoes, one of those is actually blossom end rot. It's not always a calcium deficiency. So we talked about that in a different video. I'll put a link to that video also in this description box. But you want to make sure that you have even moisture on your tomatoes. When you're watering here in the garden, you're going to water deep so that those root structures go really down and you can protect them. So I'm just going to gently pat this down, and then we have a little bit of space left over for just take some of that soil out. So we have maybe about 1 to 2 inches of the top here on our pot with the mulch. Okay, so now we're going to take Julie. Make sure you label your plant so you know what it is, even though you know it's a tomato plant, you just don't know exactly which one it is. We're going to take some mulch, put that on top of here. I'm going to put a little tomato cage. You can also stake this and it'll grow straight up. I'm gonna use the tomato cage. I have several of them, so you know, whatever works best for you, whatever you have. You don't always have to have the tomato cages for tomatoes. You can just use a stake and just, you know, do that. So we're going to do that. And then next thing we're going to do is we're going to plant this other tomato. We're going to call this one the Golden Girl. So the Golden Jubilee, Golden Girl goes in the ground, and then Julie, the Golden Jubilee, is going to go here in the pot. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to plant our Golden Girl in this location also. Now, one thing I do want to stress is you want to make sure that your tomato plant has enough room. I have a rock wall here. I don't really have very many options in my garden. Usually this will be shaded in the afternoon, and then of course it'll be shaded from the tomato plant once it starts to grow. You want to make sure that you have a nice trellis so that your tomato plant will grow high. There's the difference between determinate and indeterminate tomatoes, and I'll do a separate video on that, but basically the determinate will grow to a certain height, and then that will be it. The indeterminate will continue to grow unless you top it off. So this, we're gonna keep this here in this area, give it a little bit of room, and I'm gonna kind of plant it here. So now, another thing that I like to do when I do plant my tomatoes, or really any of my vegetables, I'll show you here. Around my garden, I usually have onion plants. I usually have marigolds that are kind of spread throughout. The onion plants that I have, I strategically place them on the outside of my garden. That keeps a lot of the pests away. And that's a really, really good way of kind of keeping everything around safe, and you know, you don't have so many of the bugs and critters. So we're going to do the exact same planting method here. I'm going to just plant maybe a little bit closer here. And we're going to dig deep first, give that root structure some things to search for as we do this. Now, I also supplement a lot of my garden with compost. I make my own compost. So if you're interested in that, I'll put a link of that also below. So I'm going to do the same thing as we did with Julia, as we're going to do with Golden Girl here. So just take maybe 1 or 2 handfuls of the worm castings, and then I'm going to put 1 handful of this all-purpose granular fertilizer in here. Mix that up really well, and then we're going to cover that up a little bit, and then we'll plant Golden Girl here. Same issue, okay? Some of the root structure is here, so we're just going to gently tease that away so it allows that. So see how I kind of pull those out? Now they're going to go down deep like that, okay? So really nice root structure here. So we're going to just plant this at the same depth, and we're going to see how Golden Girl here produces compared to Julia. And as I mentioned, what I'll sometimes do is I might put some of this granular fertilizer around the tomato plant so that it also can continually feed the tomato plant. In this experiment that we're going to do, I'm just going to leave it exactly the same. We're not going to do anything around. We put it in the hole. We're going to put the earthworm castings and our granular fertilizer. And that's it. So we're going to put the tomato cage on both of these, so it's kind of equal experiment, and then I'll update you on the progress. Thanks for watching today. I have a lot more things that I have to plant in the garden today, so I'll keep you updated on the latest and what's happening with the 2 tomato plants that we planted, and then there'll be much more. So if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and like button if you found some value in this video. Let me know in the comments what you're doing this year, and if you're planting in containers or if you're planting in the ground, and what kind of success you've had. Until next time, happy gardening.